Cybertruck, totally metal, and a big ass fucking failure. Hail, Metal Nation, it is I, Tim.
There are some who call me Tim.
This is Podcast from Down, that's Doug, and that is Matt, or Snurd Dambler, as he is often referred to, apparently. And, I am having, big, lots of enjoyment watching the failure of the Cybertruck. And, and I just have a pile of things I wanted to complain about the basically a summary of all their issues and, some stuff to look forward to as well. But, we should probably start at the start and maybe talk about how metal the concept of a Cybertruck is. So, for those who don't know, or when we need to be reminded in a few years after all the Cybertrucks are gone, the Cybertruck is Tesla's electric pickup truck that they rushed to production. Yep, starting at $39,900, allegedly. That they rushed to production to beat out all the others, especially Ford with their electric F-150s. And but it turns out, just like Sega Genesis, if you rush things to production, things don't go well. But also, like the Sega Genesis with a 32X and the Sega CD, all of which Doug owned at one point.
I did.
Yeah, it wasn't a good idea to begin with. So, but those were at least designed better. So, it's a truck that looks like it's out of Star Fox. Very angular.
It's very Star Fox, yeah.
Yeah, it's supposedly has an exoskeleton, but not really. It's just sheet metal on a frame. It's basically a Model Y you're paying way too much for. It is electric, so I guess there's that.
I hate to... Everyone knows my sincere love of the Atari Jaguar. That's the better analogy. Overpriced, yep. Released too early, 64-bit, but it was really basically used as a Genesis.
See, I didn't have a Jaguar. I had a Sega, and I always wanted the peripherals. So... But you had a Jaguar too, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, and I sold it in the Jag CD to some guy in a parking lot for $400, and I bet that Jag CD is go for over $1,000 now. So hope they enjoy it.
Well, cool. Funny you bring that up because the Cybertrucks are already depreciating, and they haven't even started the main production line. But we'll get there. So, I have a number of sources here, but, I think I wanted to start with the history, all the failed promises. Then I guess we can talk about how metal they are. So when Elon Musk first announced it, he talked about the armor glass, which is a bulletproof material that won't even dent when you hit it. This is from fastcompany.com, by the way.
It's right here.
Yep. Even at close range with a steel ball. And then they broke 2 windows with steel balls in a live demo.
There's number 2.
And they announced the starting price of $39,900. So here's the thing about that. I've seen the defenders of the Cybertruck go, "Oh, you just wish you could afford one." No, remember, that's the starting price. The starting price, it was supposed to be affordable.
Have you ever seen the video of the guy breaking the window?
No.
Oh, it's great. So like they're doing the big announcement. So and Elon's like,
that video. Yes, yeah. I've seen that video.
And like the guy who has this. So like Elon's like, and these windows are bulletproof. And he's like, and here's our steel ball. And he's like, go ahead, throw it. And the guy's like, really? And he's very hesitant. He's some like designer guy. He's like, go ahead, throw it. And it just spider webs the whole. and then Elon's like, that's probably a fluke. Maybe throw it again. And he's like, okay. It happens again. And he's like, oh, this is a prototype.
They had to test it backstage, right?
Well,
they had to.
Matt, move your shoulder if you don't mind. Did it actually penetrate?
Well, show the other one.
So
Go the other way. Go the other way.
It's hard because it's reversed. All right, let's see.
There you go.
It does look like a hole in it.
Okay, so in his defense, it didn't penetrate. The first one was a much harder throw than the second one. The second one, the guy was like, I don't want to do this. But it definitely did not go. I'm sure that this is the bulletproof spec. I mean, people think that bulletproof glass doesn't get destroyed. Like, the point of bulletproof glass is it doesn't penetrate, not that it remains like pristine. But the fact that Elon thought it remained pristine is the problem.
Right. Okay, so he also announced after they broke the windows that it will be out in late 2021.
Yeah.
Okay. So
this was like 2018, right?
2019 is when they said that. So then 2021 rolls around. There was a pandemic. Okay.
Sure.
But they delayed it due to production problems, and they pushed it to early 22. Early 22, they delayed it to late 22. Late 22, they said they won't be able to meet the release window, so they pushed it to the end of 2023. Okay. And then in early 2023, car industry experts started saying they will doubt the Cybertruck's design will allow the company to produce it in any significant numbers. All right, so part of the problem is, since it's so angular and all this steel, it's like impossible to align and very expensive to do it at that cheaply at those tolerances that they would have to do. So that's like something they covered in one of the first engineering classes. You know, it's one of those cheap, precise, and fast. You can have two or something like that. You know?
Pick two.
Right. Okay. So in July 2023, the first production prototype of the Cybertruck comes off the line, and the front and back passenger doors don't align.
No.
All right. So, and they still have alignment problems with the door. Okay. So then, they talked about the paneling being an exoskeleton, which I already said it wasn't.
Not.
But the idea is that the car is strong. But they stopped making strong cars because it's not... Like, they stopped making cars with, like, giant steel frames that don't bend in an accident because it's not safe for anyone inside.
Or anyone being hit by the car.
Yep.
It's very lethal. It's definitely the most lethal vehicle on the road in a while.
And that is metal, but we'll get back to the metalness. Yeah. All right. So August, they're still producing them, but they're not good enough. So and again, due to the design, anything out of tolerance is like very obvious because you're supposed to have these sharp angles and planes and stuff. Okay, so then December 2023 finally comes. The the original announced starting price of $39,900 is not true.
Nope.
It's actually $60,990, but that's not true either.
Yeah, nope.
All right. So what that price is for the single motor Cybertruck, which doesn't exist. So they're making dual and tri motors. So those cost $80,000 and $100,000. But that's not how much they cost either, because they're doing the Foundation series, which is the first run, which have a $20,000 surcharge on it.
Mm-hmm.
So the $40,000 car costs $100,000. Oh, there you go, Doug.
I was thinking of Club Drive. I'm glad I'm not the only one.
Excellent. So, and you still can't get the single motor.
Nope.
I don't think they've started shipping the $100,000 one. Or sorry, the $80,000 one. Yeah. But they're finally on the road, more or less. Okay, except January 2024, the problems start happening.
Mm-hmm.
The other problems. So there's, it's supposed to have a locking differential feature, but that has a coming soon message that appears if you try to do it. They recalled every vehicle in February. This is so stupid. Due to the font size of the ABS brake and park indicators being too small.
Oh, no.
They had to update the software to show it bigger. And I feel like that's something you'd fix if you didn't rush it to production.
Yeah.
Right.
All right. So then late February, Cybertruck owners started noticing that their stainless steel truck has started to corrode and rust. Especially due to the rain. But, we'll get to it later, but it was supposed to be able to float like it's supposed to be near water. All right. So then, within a few days, so again, late February, within a few days, people are getting 25 critical system errors, including warning from the high voltage system, critical steering issue, system malfunctions, and loss of system redundancy that alerted drivers that the vehicle may suddenly lose electrical power, steering, and propulsion, and may be able to apply the parking brake.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So I don't know. I wouldn't drive it after that. Okay. So among the things they talked about was on the bed, you can put like a tent canopy for a shitty ass tent, so you can sleep in your uncomfortable car.
Yep.
Assuming it hasn't rained. So this is not on the list, but there's like a shield thing. I forgot what it's called, but that covers the truck bed. But it's not waterproof. So if it rains, anything in your truck bed gets wet.
Yeah.
So you can
Also,
put your little tent thing over that.
But also, if that thing is closed, you can't see out of the back.
Oh, the Tunao cover. Yeah.
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah. And so are the people buying this people who have never bought a pickup truck, so don't understand that all of this stuff is usually all aftermarket and usually from the original manufacturer?
I feel like anyone who's bought a pickup truck wouldn't buy this because it doesn't function well as a pickup truck. So, and it costs way more than a pickup truck. All right, it keeps going. So in March, they released the tent, and they describe it as a sad hodgepodge of flaccid fabric. All right, so then they in March, people started talking about their version, the Cybertruck's version of the blue screen of death, which is the flashing red screen of death.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what you get if there's like a big problem. All right, so autopilot doesn't work. All right, and then they started talking about the cyber guillotine. So the frunk, and people have demonstrated this using using vegetables, the frunk can chop your fingers off.
Yep.
And lacerate your arm if you try to close it. And it's supposed to have a sensor that doesn't, an anti-pinch sensor. So Tesla didn't include any on the front. Okay. Also, if you grab the door wrong, there's a place for your hand to go to open the door. But if you grab it on the side, like many people would do, that will also has the capability of skinning your hand. All right. So, the armor glass. So April comes around. There starts to be tornadoes and hail in various parts of the country. Well, the armor glass can't stand up to hail. And the glass costs over $2,000 to replace via Tesla. All right. So then mid-April, they halted all deliveries because there's a problem with the accelerator pedal getting stuck down due to lubricant residue. So it can cause the pedal to shift and get lodged in place, which, you know, if you got somewhere to go, that's a good thing. But if you're trying to stop, that's a bad thing. All right. So then they issued a recall again. And then in June, they issued another recall, the fourth recall, because trim pieces on the front windshield and wipers can fail and fall off. So then there's because the windshield's so big, they had to make their own windshield wiper with a giant motor, and that the motor fails and apparently the whole thing flops around. So that's the end of this article. And I believe there's more. In Reddit. So there's also the if you take it through a car wash. Have you heard about this?
Yep.
If you take it through a car wash, you're supposed to put it in car wash mode. Why? But
it's very important for the Cybertruck to put it in car wash mode.
Even if you do, apparently, it'll shut down the so it bricks your Cybertruck, and you have to do basically a factory reset, which takes 5 hours for some reason. All right. Let's see. There's a 48 voltage system issue, which is causing a lot of the lockouts. Brake fluid leaking all the time. Middle roof console falling off repeatedly. Wiper doesn't stay on the windshield in moderate winds. Apparently the inside has lots of poor, brittle plastic. Terrible alignments on the dashboard. You know, this isn't even steel anymore. It's the interior. And since it's not coated or wrapped, it's hard. It's a lot of work to take care of the outside so it doesn't rust. Also, it can't be sold in Europe because if it runs into a pedestrian, it will
murder them.
Create 2 half pedestrians. And poor visibility. I didn't mention that one. You can't actually see out of the front of the truck, much less the back of the truck if you have the thing closed. So now, have you seen one in person yet?
Well, before we go to that, do you know about the most recent recall?
No. Is there a 5th recall?
Oh, there's a new recall as of June 25th. There's a recall because the Cybertruck has one windshield wiper, one big windshield wiper, and the motor constantly fails.
I knew about that. I didn't know it was recalled.
Yeah, so on June 25th, Tesla issued a voluntary recall due to issues with the wiper motor and the trunk bed trim.
The trunk bed comes out. Okay. The trim falls off.
So think about a windshield wiper. What's the worst? What's the worst status you want for a windshield wiper motor?
What? Not working?
Excessive current.
What?
So due to excessive electrical current, the windshield wiper motor frequently fails, causing it to not work in wet weather.
Well, Tim, what's the engineering on that versus is it going to take correspondingly more power, not only because of the surface, but the angle versus two? With the resistance of the water and the glass.
I mean, that's just a weird choice. It's an engineering choice.
I'm just wondering if they had to really overpower that engine to compensate for one blade and one blade from an awkward angle.
It would be heavier, so you'd need a stronger motor. And motors are rated for the current they're expected. Apparently, got way more than that.
And it's steer by wire, and it's not the first vehicle like that, but that's just terrifying.
Well, yeah, I mean, because there is no mechanical steering. It's all
I like rack and peanut steering.
Me too.
So you're basically like playing a truck simulator in real life, like with a thing you buy. Yeah,
well, I'm sure there won't be any time when that'll fail.
An earlier Cybertruck recall was issued to repair an accelerator pedal issue. The pedal could come loose.
That's the one I was talking about.
It get trapped in the interior trim of the vehicle, causing unintended acceleration.
Oh, you reminded me of more. The wheel covers dig into the wheels.
Yeah.
and destroy them. So I did mention that it's supposed to be able to float. So originally they wanted, it was on Twitter. Elon said that the Cybertruck could not only float, but also float well enough to travel from South Padre Island to SpaceX's Starbase facility in Boca Chica, which is several miles. Okay. However, if you drive your Cybertruck, there's a flood line.
Mm-hmm.
If you drive it into water, you void the warranty. There's a mode for driving in water. So I think if you put it in that, it'll say your warranty will be void. And if you get close to the flood line, not above it, if you get close to it, it ruins your Cybertruck.
Yep.
Well, it contributes to the ruined Cybertruck. So it doesn't float. And there's no, oh yeah, that was the last one. The 500 miles on a charge. So they said at some point that it can go 500 miles on a charge, which it can't. But they are, I forgot what it's called, but you can order basically extra batteries that go into the bed of the truck, which again gets leaked on if it rains. So, but those are all, the production of those have all been pushed way back. So can it go 500 miles? Maybe downhill, but not yet. It's also there's people are talking about the charge rates, but I don't have a basis for comparison for those. All right, so some more gripes. Rear doors don't open to 90 degrees. Apparently they were supposed to. Seatbelts installed incorrectly. I don't even know what that means. Overhead gear selector popping/dropping. Water damage to tonneau cover buttons. So the cover gap, which means it leaks. Various bricking issues. Panels flying off.
Oh.
Okay, so it's a failure. It's a huge failure. Did you want to talk about how metal this thing is?
I mean, it's interesting.
Okay. I have an angle on this.
Okay. Before we should. I think we need to decouple the metalness of the actual truck from the metalness of the experience of people who own the truck, because there's also the issue of people booing. Like I just saw on Instagram today, one of my friends who lives in New York took a picture of a Cybertruck and said, "Look at this piece of shit," or words to that effect. So I mean, I think that people who buy a Cybertruck are desperately, and this might actually increase its metal score, are desperate for people to think they're really cool, and through the act that they think will make people think them cool, are revealing that no one thinks they're cool at all.
That's the reaction I get too. So when I first saw one, I was like, what a fucking dingus. What? Just set your money on fire, you idiot. You know? Oh, the depreciation. I didn't talk about that. So you are not allowed to sell your Cybertruck. And for people speculate on why, but some of the very early models, Tesla allowed people to purchase it outright. So a few people tried to flip their Cybertrucks. So one guy, not physically.
Well, I think.
However, they have
tried to flip their.
Right. Yes. However, they are not going for what they paid for already, and there's limited supply.
Oh, dear.
So they're already depreciating, and they're about to flood the market, and they haven't released the cheap one. So the longevity of these things is going to be very short. You know, they're basically all lemons. It's just setting money on fire. But anyway, back. I'll cut that out maybe. My brain not working. But during the metalness thing. So when I first saw one, they're careful to take pictures of it from an angle that looks kind of cool. Mm-hmm. But when you can see it from every angle, you realize how much dumber it looks than the angle they've been showing it at. It is stupid looking from most angles.
It's really wide. Yeah.
It's wide and long, and that's what she said. All right, the metalness. So if Elon was a supervillain, like on purpose and not just stupid, right? If he was a supervillain trying to destroy the world, forcing everyone to have a Cybertruck would be a perfect way to do it. You know, people are going to be angry all the time from this thing breaking down, locking their children in when it fails. Telling people things are bulletproof when they aren't. Having sheets of metal fly off at highway speeds and slicing people in half. That's totally metal. But this is all incompetence, which I don't think is metal at all. I think the Cybertruck is metal core.
Ooh, okay. I see what you did there.
They're trying to be metal and they think it's cool, but it's not. It's just a bunch of dumb bullshit poorly executed. So there you go. The Cybertruck, that's my take. Cybertruck is metal core.
The Cybertruck isn't the Something Wicked 2 records?
No, those were just bland. I feel like a Rivian is the... I think the Something Wicked Part 2 is a Rivian. Some good ideas in there, but overall, your headlights are dumb. And overpriced. That thing costs like $70,000 also.
I don't know. it's a product of a stupid, empty vision that's passed off as visionary. You just watch Terminator and Blade Runner and took a pencil and sketched something, and then they built that.
It's
there's
the
this
Homer
product of this incredible arrogance, and everyone knows that. But
that's pretty metal, though.
yeah, because it's like it's not openly acknowledged within the Cybertruck owners groups and all, but it's in plain sight, right?
Yep. Yeah, I want a horn here, here, and here because you can never find a horn when you're angry.
What was that? It was the Homer, right?
Yeah, it was the Homer. This is the Simpsons predicting the future again. What's the sticker price? What was the sticker price on the Homer? I'm gonna look that up while you talk.
This monstrosity costs
the Homer. All right, $82,000. All right. What year was that? I got it. Yeah, you've clearly been looking at a different page. So
Unky Herb episode.
I got it. No need to do this. It was 1991. All right, so $82,000
in 1991. Whoa!
Was that?
It's less than a Cybertruck.
It's $189,000 today.
Wow.
Speaking of which, the McDonald's $5 limited time value meal.
I
don't know why anyone would buy that when you can just go to Wendy's and have always been able to go to Wendy's and get a $5 value meal anyway, and then buy throw on another McChicken or whatever they call it at Wendy's, and it doesn't double the price of the meal. They really blew that one, but that's our fast food episode.
Yeah,
the most metal fast food chains.
Fast food prices.
Would you like an extra big ass taco?
I sure would.
All right. Well, that's all I got. Do you have anything else?
I mean,
are we gonna score it?
Yeah, I thought we were gonna score it.
We can score it.
I thought that was the whole point of the cockamamie episode.
Well, I mean, I think I pretty much gave a score. I called it metalcore. It's a 1.
Bitchly cowcorn.
It's shit.
We're not rating different aspects of the product.
Okay. All right. Okay. Give me an aspect, and I'll give you a rating. Recent episode that I'm sure you've watched. See, you haven't watched it because as of the time we're recording this, it hasn't aired. Mm-hmm. But I had Dad, whom we will refer to as Dad, rate the metalness of whether birds in Ocean City were metal, one by one. All right. So how about Matt and Doug, you come up with aspects of the Cybertruck, and then the other one says whether it's metal or not, or gives a score.
Okay,
and
so it'll be like...
Then I will render a final judgment. How about that?
It'll be like a tennis match where I'll say something, then Doug will respond, then he'll say something, and I'll respond.
Yeah, and then at the end, it doesn't matter because it's metalcore. So go ahead.
Okay. Angularity. How metal is the angularity of the Cybertruck, Doug?
Depending on the angle.
Mm-hmm.
You want to get that specific and not like visual aesthetics? What's the aim here?
Sure. The aesthetics, the pure aesthetics, angularity, sheet metal, everything. The fake off-roading tires, the square steering wheel.
All right. So the posing, even though it doesn't admit that's what it's doing.
Exactly.
this retro 80s thing presented as something new. Yeah, I think working at certain angles and then being hideous for most is fairly metal. Honestly, again, this isn't about like a more broad, or obviously aesthetics is never objective, but the traditional judgment, it's not good. But I would say in the context of metal, it's a solid 8.
Wow. Okay. All right. I guess my turn now.
I'll suggest lethality.
Yeah. Yep. You got it. All right.
Okay. Lethality. All right. The Cybertruck has to be a 10 metal for lethality because it has a wanton disregard for anyone driving it, riding in it, or even in its immediate proximity. I mean, it is basically trying to kill whomever is nearby, whether that's by backing into them, whether that's by having the door close on them, whether that's just
trapping them inside.
I mean, it was a different Tesla, right? It wasn't. Didn't Elaine Chow's sister like just drown in the Tesla because the doors are electronic?
You had to know to rip off a speaker panel.
Yeah. There's like a 19-point procedure on how to escape a Tesla. I've never seen one in the wild, but I imagine it's like very unnecessarily bright and hard to look at.
That reminds me. Someone took their Cybertruck and buffed the entire outside to a mirror finish. And so it's which causes all sorts of safety issues, if you can believe it. So,
look at that!
Yeah,
that's incredible. It looks like a fucking Cylon from Battlestar Galactica. I'm gonna have to. It can't not be a 10 here. This car is out and likely will kill you.
That's another point.
Okay, I'm gonna give you, Doug. Maybe we'll each do one more, right? I'm gonna give you the quality of resentment, because I feel like the resentment is strong in the Cybertruck.
Well, yeah, and it's a lot of people driving pickups. There's a fuck you aspect to it. But this is like a double fuck you aspect because these are the douchebags that are in in those hacks of Acuras and Lexuses and being assholes on 495. Except now they have a really shitty pickup, and it's like, and the grievance and resentment is mirrored both ways, right? Because every other driver on the road hates them.
Well, it's like it always puzzles me, the mystery of the clean, pristine pickup truck, right? Because that's not why you own a pickup truck. You own a.
That's right. It's. I know people who have pickup trucks and like commute in them. It's not the point of a pickup truck.
You're supposed to be like hauling shit, and like it's supposed to be caked in mud, and like the bed is supposed to have a giant hole, like rust hole in it, because you put too much rebar in there one day.
There's 2 places I've been where it was all just trucks: Alaska and Ecuador, specifically the Galapagos, because you need them there.
Yeah.
And then I see like really giant, really nice, very clean pickups on the highway, and I just think they're incredible douchebags.
Well, so all of these electric pickup trucks, the F-150 Lightning, the Rivian, and the Cybertruck all have passenger room for 5. I mean, and I know we have like extended cabs and crew cabs and all this, but what if this is a tiny truck? Why do we need passenger, because it's clearly not a truck for the purposes of trucking. It's a truck for like, let me get the biggest. I want to both be as smug as possible. I'm like, I'm driving an electric vehicle, guys. But it's also like, I still want a big, ostentatious, unnecessary vehicle. They seem like diametrically opposed conceits.
Remember that South Park from forever ago when Gerald got a Prius and he goes, thanks, as he drives off?
Isn't that where like the city is overrun by smug?
Yeah. There's smug pollution. I read an article about someone who tried to use their Cybertruck to tow a boat.
Oh no!
And unsurprisingly, the range goes way down.
Yeah.
Which, okay, that's just physics. However, have you seen Tesla superchargers where you can charge one? How do you get into it if you're towing a boat?
Oh. Fuck. Yeah.
So basically, it took them forever to get anywhere because, their range was limited. They had to keep charging, and it's difficult to charge if you're also towing something.
Yeah, you got to unhitch, I guess.
And I mean, something to credit the American big three, and actually all the Japanese companies too. A lot of people, and I live in Bakersfield, California. Everyone here is a pickup, and only 50% of them are using them in the fields, including me. I have a Maverick, the smallest you can buy, and there's not a single truck on the market that isn't crew cab, at least now, which is just ridiculous. But the American companies still maintain that core functionality. Like there's all these legacy things that are there because the F-150 in 1962 had it.
Yeah.
It's just part of the language of pickups. But this circumvents all that. They don't know it, and frankly, the people buying it don't know any of that either. So of course they put that in the wrong place.
Do you want to guess what the starting price of the Maverick is, Matt?
Okay, so I'm gonna guess it is under the Cybertruck. I'm gonna say it's how much was this? I'm gonna say it's 60.
All right, cut that in half.
30.
Hang on, and then remove 20%. The base model is $23,900.
What?
Starting. You can get the pimped out one, the Lariat, starting at $35,000, which again is cheaper than
That's under the
cheapest
price.
original announced price of the Cybertruck. I wonder how much the electric F-150 is. I'll look that up while you talk, because there's still at least one more dimension to rate the metal.
Okay, yeah. All right. So yeah, I think we gave that resentment a 10, right?
Yeah, both sides. All right. The arrogance of electric cars.
Oh, okay.
Cars, all cars, or just
all
the trucks?
100% battery powered mobility devices.
Okay. I'm gonna. Okay, so this is complicated because we do need electric vehicles, but probably consumer grade personal vehicles are the last thing you should electrify ever. I have to give it a 10 metal again. You're not, replacing an entire city's fleet of buses with electric vehicles seems to be much more efficient, and making those buses attractive seems to be a much better use of everyone's time and money than replacing internal combustion private vehicles with electric private vehicles, especially when you're not thinking about how you're electric generating fuel mix works. So again, if it's a fossil based fuel mix, you're just trading off. It's well, I mean, luckily for us, we'll be dead by the time we get to 3 degrees. But good old kids won't. And they will curse us for our millennial reign.
Yep, we live in a world with a mode share problem, and we're treating it as a power source problem.
All right. Do you want to guess the starting price of the 2024 F-150 Lightning XLT?
XLT. That sounds like it's
so. The other one I quoted you was for the XL, which is below XLT. So for the other one, it would be the mid-range. Okay. So the lowest F-150 Lightning is the mid-range of the Maverick. All right. What is it?
49,000.
I'm going to say 45.
What if I told you you're supposed to be able to get a Cybertruck for that price, but it's not the price over your head?
80?
Well, if you're throwing around $80,000, you probably have $5,000 more to get the Platinum Edition, which is the top of the line tricked out one, which again, cheaper than a Cybertruck.
Like me, the Platinum.
And it really should be noted that the F-150 electric has all of the functionality of a true F-150 and then more. Like, they actually thought about it.
Yeah. And it looks like...
it looks like a truck.
It looks like an F-150.
Right.
I mean...
So the starting price is $63K.
Oh, that's not bad. I mean, that's expensive for a...
It's expensive for a pickup truck, but it's an electric pickup truck, and it's cheaper than a Cybertruck. And it can probably fulfill its promises, which brings me to my aspect that you should rate is expected, like announced features versus delivered features. Those are two separate things.
Okay,
announced features: bulletproof glass. It can drive. It can float for some reason.
Okay.
Camping versus reality, like what's actually in the package.
Well, what's an example of a feature that they actually did deliver on? If you're okay with applying 7 asterisks.
No single motor version, so no cheap version.
Okay.
No. If you drive it in the water, it doesn't float.
It's true. It truly doesn't. I mean, it weighs.
I don't know if it doesn't float, but it doesn't work if you drive it in the water. So, it doesn't work if you drive it in the water. What else was there? I talked so much I forgot everything. Hang on 1 second. It was in the Motor Trend article, which I'm trying to bring up now. All right. Bulletproof.
Well,
bulletproof windows. Can it float? Is there a $40,000 one? Does it actually have an exoskeleton? Which they said there's going to be an exoskeleton, but it's just sheet metal on a Honda Ridgeline type frame. The delays in production, like, is it even worth waiting several years for? And I feel like that, and the limited range, because when they said it will be able to go 500 miles, but it can't. It also can't tow what they said it was going to tow, but I don't have those numbers.
I do think it's metal how they embraced a retro concept, more steel in cars, but they embraced the wrong part of like 70s style construction. Like doing shitty flat production on your music to sound like, Surth Ungull album from 1980.
Like it looks like they're trying to give it the biggest possible radar cross section.
Actually, I think, okay, so now that you brought that up, now we're talking my language. I think it actually might have a low radar cross section
because it's orthogonally reflecting.
It's bouncing stuff away. So if you look at what's the Swedish? There's a Swedish boat, the Visby class, I think. VISBY. It's a Corvette, so it's a teeny tiny boat, but it's got all these angles on it. All right. So the point of that is to reflect away the radar. So the way a radar works is you shine basically invisible light at it, right? And it bounces off stuff and comes back. So stuff like rails or the hull should light up real big on a radar screen. But if you look at this Visby class Corvette, it's very angular, so it's reflecting the light away. So it's like shining a laser pointer at a mirror that you're not standing flush to, right? Okay. So if you look, so now let's look at the Cybertruck. It auto-filled Cybertruck on fire. So, the big flat vertical doors are going to have a large radar cross section.
Yeah.
But the top of it won't.
So
from very far away.
Yes, I was about to point this out.
Yes. From very far away, it won't show up on radar, and then suddenly it will be very huge on radar. So if you're trying to speed in this, it's not going to work.
Also, apparently, I'm reading this Reddit post, and this guy's talking about, I guess a lot of, in California, they use LiDAR instead of radar, and they said that the flat panels are actually the best for LiDAR reflection.
That's great. So radar is like 3D radar. Like you can see the shapes of things easier with it.
How do they get to that from a technology? Like, what's it doing differently?
I think it's lasers. I forget. It's better than radar in most ways. But it's been a while since I've had to do anything LiDAR related. But LiDAR, you can buy your own LiDAR system for surprisingly cheap because it's like how a lot of the self-driving stuff works. You know, it's the sensors. Oh, this is some bullshit. I can't show you my this great picture of a Visby class Corvette because it's WebP and this isn't it doesn't support WebP.
You know, WebP sucks. I feel like we should have a WebP episode too.
And speaking of arrogance, Tim, does Cybertruck have any a radar in it, or is it all camera?
Probably.
Well, he took it out of the Tesla sedans.
I have no idea then.
My Maverick has one more radar and no self-drive than a Tesla.
All right. As of 2023, prototypes of Cybertruck and Tesla Cybertruck and Semi have been spotted with LiDAR sensors.
But there was something with the LiDAR that wasn't working.
Here's the Visby class Corvette.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, it's like a Jaguar game.
See this right here?
Mm-hmm.
Where it looks like it's peeing?
Uh-huh.
Yeah, that's a design problem all ships have. Because you have to be able to expel water overboard. And if it's not the same temperature as the ocean, it's easy to track you just based on your trail of warm water. So
is this
and this right here will light up on a radar. It's like a grill. It's probably an exhaust of some kind. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Would you purposely put it on the side because maybe you know where the enemy is, so that's you can. Well, that doesn't make sense. Yeah, I don't know. Is there a logic to why it's on the side there than the back?
Good question. And it also has dazzle-ish camouflage, which was huge in the First World War. I don't know why they brought this back. You know, go ask the Swedes. But that's a different episode. And I feel like this episode has gone way over.
Well, you know,
but I'm not going to add it, or we're going to publish the whole damn thing. And if you made it this far,
going way too long and taking a lot longer than people expect is part of the Cybertruck experience. So
right. And the self-awareness is not metal, so let's drop it.
Oh, sorry.
Hey, look,
okay.
my glass is like has a low radar cross section too. Oh.
All right. So, would you rate the metalness of the failed promises? I mean, not living up to expectations is pretty metal. So.
Well, I would say it's not only not living up, but not admitting that you didn't.
That's metal.
That's metal as fuck.
All right. Well, I'm still going to say no, it's poorly executed. I don't change my mind even with new data. The Cybertruck is metalcore. I mean, that's the end of it.
Yeah.
And that's the end of the episode. So until next time, Metal Nation, if you need to cut vegetables or fingers, buy yourself a Cybertruck. You want to guess what the starting price of the Visby class Corvette is?
I'm going to say $30 million.
Well, it'd be in kroner.
30 million kroners.
4 billion kroner.
Oh, I'm surprised it came up with an answer. 4 billion is a little high. What did you say, Matt?
I said 30 million.
It's actually a little more than half that.
Oh.
I don't believe that.
So wait,
this is according to Wikipedia. They wouldn't lie.